James Dellinger here with Dellinger Wood Products again. We're going to review the Cook's MP32 here that I bought several years ago before COVID. Thankfully, that as everybody knows, sawmill prices kind of went crazy during COVID, and then blade shortages and all that. So, luckily enough, I bought the sawmill here, and I got a blade sharpener for it and all that. And we'll be doing some videos later. So, just a quick review of this sawmill. The leading factor that sent me to Cook's after I did a lot of research and everything is the weight of the sawmill, which heavy frame, heavy built 4-post here. I liked that it was a small local little company there. They do everything in-house. Few features that I liked more than a couple other companies were is that instead of a lot of other companies use electric clutch and all that up here, the Cook's has a manual one where you just pull a lever and puts tension on the belt. Simple design. Anything simple like that, you know, less chance of failure. Other thing I really liked, I like the diesel wipe system that they have here. They have a felt wick there that wipes the blade. As you can see, I do a little bit of pine milling and stuff like that, and we have Virginia pine and pitch pine here, which has a lot of resin in it. So the diesel really helps to keep the blade clean, and I really like it because it keeps the blades from rusting and everything else. That diesel puts a nice little coat on it. And actually, with my setup here, I've diluted down the diesel with I'll put a little bit of hydraulic fluid in it. Makes it a little bit oilier, I guess you could say. It seems to kind of help keep from stuff building up on a solid crown band wheels. And that's another thing I liked about Cook's is they had crown band wheels instead of a belt driven or belt on the surface of the band wheels. That way, one less thing to wear out. I mean, eventually they do go, not for say bad, but you guys send them back and get them re-crowned so the blade stays center. Another really good selling point of the Cook's is their blade guide rollers. They're greasable, very well built. They make a lot of aftermarket retrofit units for wood misers and all those. So a lot of people like those, and I like that it has a lot of adjustability. So if something comes out or you accidentally hit it or whatever, you can back up, reset everything up, readjust it, and go on. Another thing I like too was it has, from what I understand, they gave it, when you buy a Cook's sawmill, they give you a book, and it has all the part numbers and everything else in it. In these, to drive the band wheels in here, the bearings are a axle bearing in here instead of pillow blocks. A lot of people, you see some sawmills that have like 4 or 5 bearings here. I just seem to like the axle bearings because I think they're a little bit more industrial, more heavier built. Another thing I really like too is with this mill here, it's all assembled here in American. It's American steel. It was, like I said, it was just a heavy unit. A lot of big hardwoods here where I live, so you need a heavy frame. I don't want something that looks like Swiss cheese in here and hollowed out. And, this is a solid channel here, square rectangle tube. I've had some very big logs up on this mill. The Kohler motor on these things have been great so far. The only thing I've had to replace is the throttle control, and right now it's got almost 225 hours on it. So it's been a really good mill. And then another point too that's pretty important here. A lot of people use like a tension guide or hydraulic pressure or whatever. As you can see in here, Cook's, they have a little notch here where you set your tension. That's where they want you to run it. And then inside here there's a spring. So if there's a piece of bark or something like that, when you're sawing, it gets sucked in there and gets wrapped between the blade and the band wheels. that spring gives just a little bit to keep from breaking blades, or say if you're going through and you push a little harder or whatever, that spring takes up some of that abuse in there. And there's a few things I like to add to the mill and everything else, but as this unit it is somewhat you got a lot of add-ons now. Cooks just came out with a hydraulic roller system here, where it has it'll roll the log for you, and I think it's got toe boards for it too. And it's about like a $3,000 add-on, and be pretty interesting to see how that is, because I might think about getting that for this mill, because that's definitely one of the only few things that I don't quite like about a manual mill. What I like about the manual over the hydraulics is I've seen a lot of people with hydraulics that until they learn how your blade reacts and everything, that hydraulic mill is just pushing through. It doesn't feel when that blade wants to, has that gullet has filled up, and or it's getting duller, or it needs to slow down a little bit. With the manual mill, you can kind of feel the back pressure and everything else on it. So kind of the reason I went with a manual mill instead of a hydraulic at the time. The next step up, and I believe it's on the same platform as HD3238, is our hydraulic mill that's on this same exact platform. So it has all the bells and whistles and control center back here. But so far this thing's done everything I need to do. It does great lumber. I've kind of made my money out of it already. It's paid for itself. So from here on out, hopefully it's profit. But at the time, like I said, I paid before COVID prices, so I got it for like $10,000 brand new. So if you're in the market for a mill, check out Cooks, and then we're gonna saw a little log right here. can see there, we got to work down to what they call a cant. Thing you got to worry about sawmilling too is you'll kind of actually see it here just a little bit on this one here, is you got to worry about a lot of tension in these logs. So right here in the center, you can see this beam is actually lifted up. Even though it's giant as it is, it's got just a little bit of tension in it, starting to lift up about 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch there. So that log naturally now wants to curve like that. So you got to rotate this log to keep the tension under control, because when you get down to the center, I'm working fence boards here. So what we want to get down to the center is have a nice 6-inch wide for fencing boards with no tension on it, because you don't want crooked timber and all that. A lot of sawmills I see, they advertise that you know, how much clamping force and everything else is on it. Well, that's well and good when you get it all solid, but as soon as they release it, the boards go to spaghetti. Or you know, when they cut it off, you know, tension, you know, comes out in the board, and that's how you get a crooked board, more or less. So right now, what I got to do, I got to flip this log and try to relieve some of this tension. And you do it by cutting equally to get down to the center of the log. As you can see here, we're trying to center this log up. It's a little bit off center here at the end, but it's more center at the bottom due to the natural curvature of the log. So you all constantly want to work it to where it's not a whole bunch of tension trying to flex that, because that's what's throwing your boards off. A lot of people think, oh, my sawmill's cut crooked, and it's actually not that. It's actually the tension in the logs. And it seems like younger trees have more tension in them and just some trees just naturally seem to have tension. I don't know. There's probably some science behind that, whether it's, you know, wind or the natural growing conditions. So that's another thing to keep in mind when you're sawing, is the tension that comes out in these logs and stuff, and these beams and all that, because the sawmill's level here and everything, and every once in a while I'll go through and sight it, because it is a little muddy today. So I'll sight it and make sure everything's nice and straight, and that's where that nice heavy frame comes into effect too, is because I can throw a 16-foot log up here on like that, and it doesn't deflect as much as it would with you know, some of the bolt together frames and stuff like that. So when you're looking at sawmills, definitely look at a heavy duty frame, because say if one of your stabilizers here, something happens, you know, it sinks a little bit in the dirt, you don't want to have to, you want a little bit of peace of mind from that. And so that'll wrap this video up, and then we'll do another video about blades and how to know when your blades are going bad, kind of from what I've learned. I've learned a lot from trial and error. I've broken a lot of blades, and it's definitely a science behind how to keep the maximum efficiency going with your sawmill and stuff like that. So it's not just sawing; it's a lot of technique behind it. It's a lot of learning, a lot of science to, especially with these band mills. They're every day the technology is changing on them. They're coming out with you know, they're all constantly researching blade materials and how much set to put in the teeth, and hook angles, and we'll get in touch with that a little bit on the next video, and we'll touch base with that, and hopefully help somebody out there that's learning. You know, it's all about helping each other learn. It's not, I'm not in it for competition or anything. It's just something to do. It's fun to do. So hope you all have a good day.